Alright guys, it's time for the high tiers, right? This is the part of the characters that stand out and are mostly pretty much solo viable. You know, they might have some difficult matchups, but they have solid kits with enough strength to like really let them succeed. Starting off, we got Chrom. Now this is like the character I know everyone goes, why is he so much worse than Roy? It's always that recovery. Especially at this point in the tier list, I feel like it's really hard to be a good character when you have a very noticeable Achilles heel, like his recovery being so poor. So many characters can just murder him off stage. I've seen so many clips of like Mr. R winning and then he just gets hit at 0 and literally just dies at 0. You know, while he has a nice balanced blade, no sweet spots, no sour spots, I think he doesn't hit hard enough compared to a lot of the top tiers consistently. Like he'll get some damage on his combos, sure. He has a lot of safe space stuff, but it's not quite enough. I think also because, you know, he's fast in the air. He has issue where like when he holds a direction in the air, he can miss that direction. So it means he has to be very precise with his aerial jump spacing to not get punished when he's jumping. All those things together really just means he's not hitting hard enough for how risky it is sometimes at this point in the tier list to be anything above like the bottom of high tier. Good, safe, big buttons. You know, he can kill you early, solid frame data. And that's why he's here as like the barely like solo viable type of character. Next, we got Young Link. And honestly, Young Link is super similar in this regard. You know, his recovery and his disadvantage state in general being so poor holds him back because this character is also very slow. Slow in the air. Fast on the ground, slow in the air. Don't someone tell me in the comments, Dabuz, you just said Young Link's slow. I'm not listening to you ever again. I don't want to hear that. Projectile game, great. Combos off of that are great. He has a little bit of trouble killing if he can't get the right combos, but he can get those sometimes. So it's like, sometimes he's eating well, sometimes someone's living to 200. I think the other big thing is that not having good normals is a huge issue, right? In the low tiers, this was a problem. And I think Young Link's ground mobility and projectile game like really compensates for his poor normals, but like his tilts outside down tilt are pretty sus. Like his aerials, like they're okay, but they get outranged a lot by most characters. So you end up losing interaction sometimes and losing with him. So while I think he's really solid overall, I think it's the Sheik Pichu effect where people make mistakes, especially in a game like Ultimate where there's a lot of input delay, like was native 6 frames input delay, which I think causes people to make mistakes and not be able to play like reactionary punish based with fast characters as much as they otherwise could. And it hurts a character like Young Link a lot especially. Alright, Ryuken, these characters actually have been going up and up. Jazo's been putting in work, and honestly, I do put Ryu over Ken intentionally. I think that Ken actually might be the worst FGC character, which is crazy, because he's still really good. The fact that he has like 3-frame combo starters that kills is why, you know, him and Ryu have such a good parry game, and why they're so scary, because then their pressure is insane, right? Hit your shield, they can break your shield, they can kill you very early. Focus is like a pretty solid tool to get out disadvantage generally when you're getting juggled, because of things like regular get up or roll tilts. Even ledge trapping them scary because you can't afford to mess up. They have recovery mix-ups, although their recovery game is poor, they're not getting edge guard for free. With that said, you know, lack of great hitboxes, always an issue. Has to approach, which is, I think is always a big issue in Ultimate, is when you're forced to approach, especially versus like the top tiers and high tiers. The reason I put Ryu over Ken is, even though Ken is faster, I think Ryu's fireball game is really obnoxious. I think actually it's one of those things that hasn't been explored enough. I know Asimo has been putting in a lot of work with the Ryu. And when I watch him play, the big thing is like doing a lot of short hop and full hop fireballs to really outspace people and actually force approaches. So while it's not much better than Ken, I do think that's notable for Ryu. Overall, like being able to kill people with single hits and not having a big explosive weaknesses is very important right now. Pikmin's a character I think has gone up and down and up over time, where it's like people thought he's really good, and then people thought, hey, he's not that great, especially me, and now it's like, you know what, he's solid. It's not even about like his projectile game. I feel like it's about his air mobility and his aerials. Like forward air is a nice move. Back air is a very fast, big killing move. Up air is really scary. And of course, yeah, pellets as well to complement these things. Like if people are playing outside this aerial ranges, pellets. You got setups. You got like Leaf Shield. You can cancel out Metal Blade for some cool like on-block setups you have to deal with. Leaf Shield in general is a great move. Metal Blade's a great move. But you add all these things onto a character that's pretty heavy, small, good mobility, good grab game, and you might be asking, why isn't he higher in this list? His recovery is really easy at 2-frame. It's pretty easy to juggle despite his mobility, because he like really lacks good landing hitboxes. Like his down air being so slow, like compared to most characters especially, is just rough. And there's a lot of random blind spots on his attacks. Like he doesn't recover diagonal super well. And when he does his aerials, even though they're good, they're pretty committal. So sometimes you just catch him like being too predictable and get big punishes there. Oh, he also doesn't have the most damage output, or most damage output. His kill power is pretty good with back air, even fair, up tilt potentially. But sometimes he struggles to put up damage, and then finally gets pressured. So it's like, it's a bit of a more like lopsided character where strengths are pretty strong, but he has a lot of like moderately annoying weaknesses that I think hurts him a lot. Alright, we got Bowser. It's Bowser, right? This character has like not changed since day one. He's big, hits hard, He's fast, but he has to commit to his approaches, right? Because his air mobility, while it's fast, he can't like decel. It's like kind of Crom issue where when he jumps forward, he's committed to that jump. He's pretty easy to juggle. Pretty easy to ledge trap, edge guard, all that stuff, sure. But man, when he hits you, he's hitting you. When he's getting a flame breath and you're doing 40 damage, when you're getting mixed by side B, when he's spacing forwarders, when he's calling out up Bs, when you're hitting his shield and he's up Bing out shield, that's actually such a big thing. Having up B as shield, I think that's like one of the first characters in this list that has a really good as shield game, negating a lot of otherwise safe pressure, and always making people play that guessing game, especially with a character with such a good advantage state like him. It's scary. And I think there's a lot of characters that just beat him for free, like, you know, sure, Game & Watch, Pikachu, just kind of destroy him. He really handles characters in his own relative area of the tier list and below super well. Alright, hero. So it's always about the buffs with him. Down B buffs are so insane, and it's always, can he get room for the buffs? And he does have the tools for it. He does have the big, freaking absurdly sized aerials to create space for himself. He does have some faster zoning tools as well with side B and neutral B. So like you're always thinking, oh, is he gonna go buffs? Is he gonna space me out? Is he gonna run up and grab me because I'm shielding, respecting his projectiles and his spacing? So that's all great for him, honestly. And I think it comes down to the fact that he's only high tier because he's just so slow over frame data wise, mobility wise. And I think that's really all that holds him back. But those things alone means he gets pressured very hard, whether it's by someone getting his face or someone can kind of play a spacing game but like outrange him there. It's also rough. And it's the fact that his disadvantage state is, you know, kind of lackluster outside of zooming on stage. That's it. I know some people might mention the spell RNG being bad. And honestly, I don't think the spell RNG matters that much. Like, it obviously does, but good hero players get their buffs regardless. You know, you get 4 options in your menu. There's almost always a good option or 2 to use from that menu. You don't have to commit to it a lot of times. So I don't think spell RNG hurts him really. Now we got Sephiroth. Man, I thought this character was gonna be like top 3 when he came out. I was like, this character's freaking broken. And now he's just lower high tier. Still solid, but we've seen over time that, you know, despite his really good strengths of big, massive hitboxes, but they're like slow and laggy, so they have kind of like iffy blind spots. He's big and lightweight, so you know one wing is broken, he doesn't always get to it, or sometimes he gets to it and then dies the next neutral interaction. His recovery is also really poor without one wing, so if you can get him off stage, you can actually kill him like really easily. Definitely top tier with the wing. It's like he's not top tier long enough. I will say, however, a lot of Sephiroth players don't utilize Nair enough. Like a lot of them don't just run up Nair and like outspace with Nair and play that like Nair-based game. Nair. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention that's huge. This character actually sucks at juggling. Like, up air is big, but it's laggy, and up smash has a blind spot. So if you like do fast full air dodges when you're landing versus him, he doesn't have a good way to cover that. Lacking that specific element of advantage state and being forced to hold advantage state with like your horizontal range or winning neutral over and over is really gonna hold you back. I think that holds him back more than anything else, honestly, is that he wins neutral well enough, but he doesn't hold that win. Yoshi. Now this character's been actually making so many moves in Japan with Yoshidora lately. I'm so sad. Freaking, we lost the ability to see him in America with the Smash Bros. Tour being canceled. What he showcased is that Yoshi's mobility in the air is so hard to deal with. Like, if he's jumping around and not committing to openings until he sees them, using eggs to get in, good usage of egg lay when he sees shield, and using that double jump armor especially to like punch through attacks. He's a scary character. And the fact that he's like low-key a Luigi clone. Up tilt leads into some stupid damage with platforms. Down air also is a dumb move that does like 40 damage that can kill. So it's like if he touches you, you can die. He's also heavy, pretty small honestly for his weight, and he's overall one of these characters where it's like his neutral isn't that good, but it's fine because he can take enough guesses in neutral to eventually get that opening and just farm your stock. Oh my god, you die if he hits you. Ness. This is a character that for a while I think everyone's kind of thinking, oh, he's not that great, but he's kind of at a resurgence with Syrup, doing well. Sen still does alright at events. You see Gak doing pretty solidly, and I feel like I'm forgetting a Ness. Like, there's enough rep out there. This character makes me go, The reason this character doing well makes sense. Like, even though, you know, it's always been, oh yeah, his neutral isn't super amazing because disjoints, right? But in practice, he has mobility, right? He has a good dash attack, first of all. He has good ground mobility, good air mobility. He's kind of small. Good frame data, so he's a good parry game. Good combo game as well. Off of his tilts, aerials, even grab below percents. PK Fire is one of these moves that's like, it's not a great move by itself, but combined with his air mobility, he's able to really like move around platforms and PK Fire in very annoying spots. And then he has bullshit like down smash at the ledge. Like you're recovering, he holds down smash, and a lot of characters just die there. So you're forced to kind of not go to ledge, and then he can just juggle you. So those are really strong. His weaknesses are just like, sure, he gets outranged and he's kind of floaty. His recovery is also exploitable, although it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be, because it wasn't in previous games. But air dodge to ledge in this game is always such a busted option, especially for Ness. I think the only reason he's not higher up based on what I'm talking about is that I guess it's just the neutral isn't like free enough. Like Ness players are generally working to win neutral. We got Olimar next. Now this character sucks, right? I don't know why this character is here. He should be in like the mid-tier section. All right, now, but for real, this character, as much as I like to shit on him, he is pretty solid, right? Big, safe, hitboxes, Pikmin toss is stupid, spammable smashes I can kill, down tilt's a great move that people don't talk about enough. Whistle Armor being a frame 2 combo escape tool is always phenomenal. He's always just held back by the fact that he's light and slow, and that because his Pikmin lineup, you know, like you can see his lineup and see what he wants to go for. So even with all of our players trying their best to play around like being predictable, there's only so much he can do. Sometimes he's forced to chase down characters and he can't do it, like Cloud Charging Limit, or like he's getting camped out by Belmonts and he doesn't have the approach tools. Or other times he's just getting overwhelmed by a character like Wolf and Fox, who can exploit the fact that he's slow and that he's floaty, so when he jumps to commit to an anti-air, he can get punished. And then finally though, disadvantage state is just too bad. It's actually so easy keeping the disadvantage super long. And at this point in Ultimate's meta, when people are practicing their combos to not get like whistled out of, when they're not letting him escape like from the ledge, it's just rough. If he wins the neutral over and over, he feels busted, but can't afford mistakes. And then we got Byleth. So for a long time, people thought this character wasn't good. And then of course, MK Leo was like, hold up, let me show you something. I think the big thing is that Byleth has some of the most consistent kill power in the game, attached to some really safe spacing. Like sure, the character's slow, but that nair is a ridiculous nair. It's the best multi-hit nair in the game, if not the best nair in the game, period. It's combos, it's big, it's safe, it's a multi-hit, it can shield poke, and it's attached to a character with grab combos, with safe aerials of space, with that down tilt, up air, anti-air. So it's like approaching this character is so hard. Dealing with this character is like close range, like defense, get away from me tools, hard. And then you could just die. You're at the ledge. This character hits you with like a smash attack that's safe. You're dead. Oh, you're showing too much. Down smash. You're dead. Oh, you're off stage. Get up bead. You're dead. Oh, you got up bead out of shield and neutral and you took like 60 damage and now you're getting juggled by up airs. It's definitely gone from this character as being carried by Leo to, you know, this character's not top tier, but Leo showcased that we were significantly underrating the character strengths. And the 5 and I know this one's gonna be super controversial, and honestly I'm looking at this and I realized she needs to be like here. I feel like I may put her in this high tier section and forgot to actually like order her. She's really solid. Bayo's like Bloom Forever, Lima do super well. There's also ones that don't travel as much, like Geist or Frog, that do well. And the thing about this character is she has great combos. She's fair to hit. That's always a big thing, is like, she's so freaking impossible to hit. She has frame 1 combo escape, and then she has witch time as well in case you try to press too many buttons. Up, yeah, shield is good. Sure, she has trouble approaching. Sure, if you're playing something like Olimar, you can just camp her out forever. But the characters that can't like super camp her out, which is most characters, right? At some point you have to make something happen. And like all those things I just mentioned makes her hard to hit her and makes her really good at punishing even the slightest mistakes. So she's not hitting the hardest. She's not killing the best. Her edge guarding is pretty good, but not amazing. It's so much harder to win neutral versus her than you'd expect, and to hold advantage state versus her. Kind of like Yoshi, getting a lot of these chances to play the neutral again and reset is really helpful, especially in a game where most characters' like biggest weakness is disadvantage state. And I think with that said, I'll probably just end the video here because this was a lot longer than I expected. Catch you for, I guess, the next part of high tier.